Doesn't Worlds Collide already exist? Hey there everybody, it's the Lyoko Gem, here to bring you another video. This time, we'll be talking about Fusionfall and what a prequel for the game would look like. So, with that being said, let's go. Now to start with, Fusionfall is a game that brings together the all-stars of the Cartoon Network universe in a world where they've all lived together. It's an alternate universe to the shows, so because of this, the worlds and lores of the shows are just one whole thing. But when Planet Fuse attacks the Cartoon Network universe, it's up to everybody to team up with one another in order to stop these parasites from taking their planet. But what would happen if there were a game detailing how it was before? Well, I imagine the game would begin with a cutscene taking place during the fall of Tech Square, with the scamper holding the player flying away from the sinking Tech Square. The scene would then go back to Ben Tennyson, who's running and fighting along the ground of Tech Square, only for tremors to ring out around him and make him stumble over. The scene would then zoom out on the sinking city again, and ring out with Ben's scream, and the screen would go black. Much like the Academy update for Fusionfall, it would then open up on Ben narrating about how things weren't always this way for the world. How the world used to be an amazing place, before Fuse, before the fighting, before the war, about how everyone was happy back then. This would then burst into a scene where Ben is running along, chasing after some criminal, Rex, Blossom, Bubbles, Buttercup, Finn, Number 5, Samurai Jack, Gwen, Zack trailing behind him, making the game's 10 playable characters. The game would play much like Ben 10 Ultimate Alien Cosmic Destruction and its predecessor Alien Force Vilgax Attacks, in which you would play as Ben and have his different forms to select from with the Quick Switch feature allowing you to progress. Applying that concept to these 10 playable characters, you'd have the ability to jump between them in the same way that those games would, with the ability to switch between them at a moment's notice and use their unique abilities for combat and getting further through the areas that would be based off of a handful of areas in Fusionfall's world, such as Tech Square, Dizzy World, Charles Darwin Middle School, the Goat's Junkyard, Forgotten Falls, Honey Bobby Temple, Crystalline Cavern, and more. The story would then follow these 10 heroes, selected by Dexter to recover blueprints that have been stolen from him, and that if they end up in the wrong hands, the user will be able to change history and disrupt the very fabric of time itself. If that's not enough of a clue, it's a time travel experiment, but Dexter will never directly state that due to company secrets and such. With that, these 10 heroes are going across the world on the case to find these missing blueprints. Along the way, they'll end up running into the wrong criminals across the world who appear in Fusionfall, which they'll need to take down as bosses, such as Vilgax, Mojo, the Ice King, Father, Vivi Argos, and more. Over the course of the game, the 10 heroes would also become closer with one another, with Ben and Rex gaining a friendship much like in Heroes United, Gwen and Blossom becoming well acquainted, and more. Eventually it's revealed that every single lead they've gotten over the course of the game has been purposely leading them in the wrong direction, and that it was none other than Mandark, who had stolen the blueprints and will build the time machine to repaint the world in his own image. The heroes quickly go in and stop Mandark in a final boss at Tech Square, where Mandark has constructed a giant robot for the fight, after a titanic battle requiring all the heroes' unique abilities to not only climb, but defeat the giant robot. You would, well, then win the game. The heroes would then celebrate only for Dexter to walk in, rant at Mandark for a few seconds about how stupid he is, and snatch the blueprints from him, ending the story. The scene then would go back to Tech Square to show the sinking buildings again, only for a flash of green light to illuminate the screen and show Jet Ray fly away from what was once Tech Square. Narration from Ben would go again as Jet Ray soars over the sea of fusion matter, saying that he's alive and so are his friends and that the war is definitely not over yet. And because of wishful thinking and the fact that it's just my fun, hypothetical thoughts, the game would also consist of a small battle mode with a few areas from the game as arenas and more playable characters from the battle mode as DLC, such as Dexter and his Doc Ock deal from Fusionfall Heroes going on, and others like Johnny Bravo, Princess Morbucks, Vilgax, Mojo, and more. And it would play like a more grounded, slower-paced Dragon Ball Xenoverse type game. While we're at it, we can have a DLC pack following Worlds Collide, although slightly edited so that Ultimate Alien fits in rather than the original series that was in Fusionfall. But that's just what I think a Fusionfall prequel game would look like. What do you think? Would you add or remove anything from this idea, or would you completely change everything? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more from me, then be sure to like and subscribe. And hey, follow my social media accounts at Twitter, Tumblr, Discord, which will be linked below. And all of that being said, this has been the Lyoko Gem, a warping out.